Hello, my name is Melissa Ade, and I'm a member of the IXL Professional Learning Services team. In this IXL microlearning session, we're going to discuss ways to create and communicate goals using suggested skills. One of my favorite researchers is Dr. Carol Dweck, who has introduced the concept of the growth mindset. Really simply defined, the growth mindset is the belief that people can develop their abilities. When I think about this in terms of the classroom, what we're saying is that every student is capable of growth when presented with challenges and bolstered with praise that focuses on the learning process. Here at IXL, our goal is to provide you, the teacher, with resources and support to help you develop honest and direct communication with your students about your curriculum goals and their path to achievement. When it comes to your classroom, I know that you're the instructional expert. You know your curriculum, and no one knows your students' needs better than you do. You already have many classroom goals in place. IXL skills and content can enhance your already existing instructional plan, especially when you take the time to set strategic IXL goals. When you're setting an IXL goal, start by considering the results that you want to see from your student learning. Focus on those bite-sized elements that feel more attainable for your students. Think about setting IXL goals in 3 steps. Start by selecting an IXL skill that maps to one of your specific instructional concepts. Secondly, identify the desired results for your students' skill practice. And thirdly, let's determine a benchmark measurement, providing specificity in your goal that defines the progress you want to see. Now, determining these benchmark measurements can be a little difficult if you don't have a firm grasp on the IXL scoring model. IXL skills are scored based on the IXL SmartScore. I want to make it clear that this is not a percentage. Rather, this is a proprietary algorithm that indicates a student's level of proficiency within a specific skill. When students are practicing in IXL, as they answer questions, they're going to encounter multiple levels of difficulty, or what you'll hear us refer to as rigor. As a student demonstrates consistency in a skill, our adaptive content will bump the student from one level of rigor up to the next, and their SmartScore will increase. If a student struggles with this new complexity, they will be provided the appropriate scaffolding. In her research, Dr. Dweck emphasizes that every student has a different path through the learning process, and IXL definitely supports this frame of thought. When students practice IXL skills, the rate of time and the number of questions it takes each student to reach mastery is going to vary, so that journey to mastery looks very different. Keeping these differences in mind, one strategy that I might recommend for setting a benchmark is a SmartScore range. If you want to see that students can answer questions in 1 or 2 levels of rigor, a SmartScore range of 80 to 90, illustrating proficiency, would be a good fit. If you are instead looking to see that students can answer questions at the highest level of rigor, that 90 to 100 range might be more appropriate. So we know how to set a measurable, attainable goal, but what does that really look like? Let's imagine that you are a first grade teacher and you've recently been teaching your students about identifying sentence types. For this scenario, I would suggest looking at an IXL skill that focuses on endmark usage. This can be used as a review skill. What you want is for your students to identify the proper endmark based on the sentence type. You don't necessarily need your students to reach mastery in this skill, but you want to see that they can encounter questions at multiple levels of rigor, and to do so consistently. So that means the 80 to 90 SmartScore range is going to be great because you want to see that students can demonstrate proficiency. With our goal in place, the next question is, how do I communicate this? This is where IXL Suggested Skills comes into play. To access the suggested skills, log into your IXL account and navigate to the content areas at the top of the page. In this case, let's choose IXL Language Arts. When you open the IXL Language Arts page, you will see all of our IXL Language Arts skills organized by grade level. For this scenario, grade 1 is a great choice. When you've opened the first grade Language Arts page, you're going to see more of our IXL Language Arts skills. This time they're organized by topic. Navigate to a topic that you want your students to explore. Look at the specific skills under that topic and move your cursor to the left of a skill. You'll see a yellow star appear. If you click on that star, the skill will be highlighted in a colored box and the yellow star will be brightly displayed. A couple of things to remember. You can highlight as many skills as you want. I find that it's a little better to focus on fewer number of highlighted skills to preserve that visual impact. Another thing to note is that when you highlight a skill, all of the students in your roster will be able to see that highlight. That means that this tool is perfect for creating and communicating a whole class goal. So we've set an IXL goal, and we can use IXL Suggested Skills. But how do we bring it all together? Let's look at a communication scenario. Let's pretend that you're a grade 10 English teacher. Your students are coming back for the spring semester, and you want to refresh grammar skills which were learned during the fall. Before the beginning of your class, navigate to the grade 10 IXL grammar skills and identify a skill that will work as a review for this concept. Click on the star to the left of the skill to highlight it. Remember that all of your students will be able to see that you've placed specific emphasis on this skill. Begin your class period by pulling up the skill on your smartboard or your Promethean. Work through a few questions as a large group. Take this moment to clearly communicate that IXL classroom goal. This is a moment for review, so reaching mastery is not your primary concern. You want your students to demonstrate comfort in these prior learned skills. Now allow your students that time for meaningful IXL practice. Follow up student practice with an opportunity for individual reflection. Encourage your students to consider their strengths, their struggles, and those next steps for IXL practice. Remember that when you offer chances for student reflection, you're allowing students to synthesize their practice. This is also offering you an opportunity to provide honest, process-based feedback. Exactly the kind of feedback that creates the growth mindset culture we're hoping for. Ultimately, IXL Suggested Skills offer a way for teachers to communicate assigned skills and still allow students to feel that they have some control over the work that they're doing. IXL's CEO, Paul Mishkin, calls this a light approach to assigning and cites internal research that indicates that our students' motivation is directly correlated to their perceptions of personal control over the learning process itself. At IXL, we believe in that process, and we want to support you in creating learning partnerships with your students that make that process even more meaningful. We want students to be more and more invested in their learning, to be excited and dig deeper and answer those bigger, tougher questions. We want to help you to create strategies that support and incorporate meaningful conversations, the exact type of conversations that focus on process-based praise and create the growth mindset for our students. Here at IXL, we agree with Dr. Carol Dweck. We want teachers and students to look at learning and say, this is hard, but this is fun. Interested in more ways to explore IXL implementation? Visit our Professional Learning Services page on the IXL website or email us at pd@ixl.com.